Welcome again to the Getting Closure podcast. I'm James. I'm here with Cheryl Stainsby again. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, James.
So Cheryl's the director of your Director's Advocate. So today, now we're not going to do the financial advice. We don't provide financial advice, do we, Cheryl?
No, we don't.
But one of the main reasons that people's business goes south is it mightn't be a very good business anyway, and they don't pay their tax. So let's talk about things like tax debt, shall we? And sort of the do's and don'ts. So we can talk about the fact that we've not had a holiday, but in COVID, the tax office has been fairly touchy, fairly nice. But in the meantime, in April of last year, they changed the law that meant that if you didn't do certain things, you were even more personally liable than you were before. Talk us through where things are up to.
So one of the main reasons that people often end up in bankruptcy after their company's gone into liquidation is personal liability for debt. And that can be a trade debt that you've personally guaranteed, a bank debt, or more and more we're seeing the tax department hold directors personally liable for unpaid GST, unpaid group tax, and unpaid superannuation. Now, the ATO have said that if you lodge your BAS on time, then to an extent there is some exemption from director liability for the PAYG and GST component of the tax debt. So, for example, if you've got a big tax debt and there's a large component of that debt that's PAYG or GST and all your BAS has been lodged on time, the ATO will send you a letter that says you've got 21 days to put your company into liquidation or voluntary administration, or we're going to hold you personally liable for this debt, or pay the debt, of course. So if you do that, there may be circumstances where you avoid any personal liability. But if you haven't lodged your BAS on time...
Yes, like if you don't do it and say, I'll just do the Australian way of just kicking the can down the road, what happens then?
Then there's a good chance you'll get a letter from the tax department saying, sorry, but you are now personally liable for this debt.
Right, and if that's unpaid PAYG and Super, that's, especially if it's GST as well now...
It can be substantial.
Right, and that's against your house, your car, your bank account.
Well, that means that you are now personally liable for that debt. Now, if you don't have a house or you don't have a car, then the worst thing that can probably happen to you is that the ATO may pursue you personally to bankruptcy. Even if you have a house and a car, they will still pursue you personally to bankruptcy, and then the bankruptcy trustee will deal with your house or your car. So if everybody has in their calendar the lodgement dates for their BAS, even if for whatever reason you can't make the payment on that date, at least if you lodge your BAS on the BAS lodgement date, at least then there's a chance that if for any reason your company does get wound up, that you may avoid personal liability for that debt.
And that's, I mean, obviously, if it's the first time you're looking at sort of delaying payment, the ATO will allow you to do a payment plan, but obviously if it's payment plan upon payment plan, then you've got some challenges to face.
Look, that's right. And at the moment, in particular, as James, as you said at the beginning of this podcast, the ATO are being very helpful at the moment with small businesses, and they are allowing small businesses to enter into payment arrangements. And my advice would be that if you do have a tax debt, either via your accountant, ring the tax department yourself and try and work out some sort of a payment arrangement, because putting your company into liquidation is really not the best way to manage a tax debt in most cases.
It's the old story, get some advice, and it's not from the person over the fat back fence or a person you meet at a barbecue. Yeah, and so and that's some of the laws have been built about trying to make people take more control of their business and not let it bank up too much. Let's keep talking over the next series of podcasts of the sorts of things you've seen that people have encountered and what not to do. Thanks, Cheryl.